Hi, I'm Almond. This is Nimmer. This is Samuel.
Newton's first law is an object with no net force acting on it. It remains at the rest or moves with a constant velocity in a straight line. In other words, an object will not move if no forces are affecting it. If an object moves with a constant velocity, it will stay in the same speed since there will be no forces acting on it.
The first example we are going to provide you with is of a car that is not moving.
Here's an example of an object at rest. The car is at rest and will remain at rest because the force of gravity and the normal force is balanced out, and there is no other force affecting it. So the car is at rest and not moving. That's it.
This diagram I drew is of a car that is not moving. The regular diagram I drew is of a car which is parked in a parking lot. The free body diagram that I drew was of the car. As you can recall, the force of gravity is equivalent to the normal force since the car is still. It is not moving side to side as well as is not getting pushed or pulled up and down. In conclusion, the force net is zero since all forces acting upon this car are equal. The two forces cancel out and therefore the object is not moving.
This example supports Newton's first law of motion because the car is at rest with an F net of 0, and it will stay that way until another force pushes it or pulls it away to a new different velocity. The next example we are going to give you is of an object that is in uniform motion. Here is a space rocket flying in space without having any gravitational effects. This is the normal diagram of the rocket. And this is its free body diagram. Since Fn and Fg are not around, and since there is not any noticeable forces present, the rocket will be in uniform motion. This example supports Newton's first law of motion because the object is in constant motion, and since there are no other forces present, it will continue as is. Newton also stated that if the object was to move without any forces present, then it would move in a straight line. The last example is about an object at rest being pushed aside by another force.
Example, the crate is not moving and Fg, the force of gravity, and Fn, the mass of the object, are equal. So the object won't move. When the force pushing the crate hits the object, it will move and it'll push it in the direction. So the velocity will change and the object will be moving in a uniform motion.
We know this example supports Newton's first law of motion because it used to remain at rest until Bob came over and moved it over. The last and final example is about an object in uniform motion that gets affected by another force. First, let's identify that the diagram in red is the normal diagram and the diagram in blue is the free body diagram. Here is another rocket in space. Before, it was flying in uniform motion without any forces affecting it. But unlike Rocket 1, this rocket ventured near a planet and was suddenly got influenced by its gravity. The rocket's velocity will change because the force of gravity that is acting on it will slow it down. We know that this example supports Newton's first law of motion because the object was moving as is until the force of gravity affected it. It slowed it down and the velocity changed. So yeah.